All right, Oliver, there's something that finally we've been talking about that you made me really think hard about. Okay, BLM ripped off all these people for $60 million. So you would think at this stage you'd be like, okay, they just must have just thought they were going to get away with it. People would forget. Probably nobody's going to get punished, really. I mean, it should just be understood. So no black people got anything. This, it and because why? This BLM is an LGBTQ movement. It had nothing to do really with black men and black people. It was a bunch of LGBTQ people from the beginning, and a white guy named Shaun King, who were really where this grift centered around. D. Ray McKesson, Patrisse Cullors, her wife Janiyah Khan, and these other women who had no children, who had been killed by the police, and they grifted, and they made a ton of money, and now they're sitting very pretty. And what this was is to unite the confused LGBTQ youth of a generation. It was a way of getting, totally confused, completely baffled, fucked up young people to ruin their lives. To participate in violence and riot, and that this would forever kind of mar their history. Because it probably would have been used against them if it could ever be discovered that they had been a part of it. So then you get the Twitter college-educated Hindu writer who has all this ugly stuff to say about the United States and United States history. You get the second, third generation Latino who's college-educated, who is always complaining about, the United States and its history. So what is it about this? Well, who is appealing? Neanderthal man. According to all dating apps, 6 figures, 6 feet tall, and really a lot of other features matter only a little bit, like they could be different. But say if you're 6 feet tall, you could be brown with, curly hair. It's just the height is the thing, and that is extremely rare and mostly dominates through the Eurasian genetics that were affected by Neanderthals. So that's the first thing. So this is why you see groups like the ADL now on this business about only white people can be racist, and that they've redefined racism according to the ADL along these lines, now making the ADL solidly a quasi-Marxist, Jewish racist organization that's anti-white inherently. And so I started to have to go over that according to just what people choose on these websites, these are groups that wouldn't fall into what people choose. And so I had to go down, base it on the essence of it all. Nobody would breed with some of these people. They're really upset and envious that these white men would outbreed them and outwork them, and that they're happy. That white men are happy to work like retarded amounts of hours a week to keep the republic going. And then there's that, the republic. The way what is it that people, why do you have then this alliance of all these unpicked, left on the shelf kind of people? It's because the republic makes people leave you alone. A democracy is the one party forcing everybody to do stuff, because the only dissenter in a democracy is at the end of the rope. So that is why they require an alliance against the imperial power, whitey. Now, it makes sense with a lot of Hindus and Jews, because they would have been under the sandal of Edom, under the sandal of Shahs and Khans and Islam. They would have been under the sandal of Islam. And so therefore forming these alliances with people, because in such a society, that's actually the only way that you could really get powers. It's constantly people fighting each other. And most empires are like this, but in particular. Now, because we're a republic and we're not an empire, and this is kind of a new thing and a novel thing, there's just not people well adapted for it. So you're finding only the people who have created the republic and are descended from the creators of the republic seem to understand the nature of the republic, and that nobody's coming to burn down your village, Ethan Klein and Sam Cedar. But you want to believe that. People want to believe that Whitey has to burn down their funky little town because they're so angry that, like, the black man's making so much money, he burnt down the whole town, which is stupid. It's utterly preposterous, and it fits very little of American history, where Americans, when you have a group that would do something like that, they're actually from a very specific group of Americans, and that this comes from feud and honor cultures that will have feuds with people, and the way that they'll solve this feud is by burning your fields, burning down your town, or something like that. It's but exceedingly rare. Exceedingly rare. So this was just something that I had to think about, because Ollie and I really started noticing the pattern of people who would come from India, and about 2 or 3 generations in are just livid at the United States all the time. They're like writers, and professors, lawyers, and I'm like, what did they not gain from the Republic? You know, why do they want this? Like, what do they think is going to happen to them if the Constitution doesn't get massively changed? And what really it is no. Nothing will happen to them. This is an evolutionary thing. This is something written deep inside of them as fear of their neighbors, because they've always lived in an empire that would basically use proxy violence against the various groups to keep them divided against the seat of the empire. Now, people could say, oh no, but that's the whole point. But that's the thing is, now we're seeing, but it's the left, these Democrats and the ethnics, who are the wild-eyed, kind of crazed, violent people who want to tear everything down. And all these other people literally just want their taxes lowered and to have the law obeyed by the federal government and by state governments. And that's all they're asking. They can't even get the law obeyed. And these people are like, no, the government, our party shouldn't have to obey the law, and we're going to burn down things just to prove to you how right we are, because we can't convince you because you're inherently the way you are, and that's, and everybody gets where now that's going on the internet because of the new definitions. So, just some thoughts.